Good afternoon, Madden people. Since there's no content to go over today, like weekly content, like we were promised,
I think that as we go into next week, we're going to start seeing our regular cadence of content.
we will take guesses at Team of the Week and tell you what to expect, at least what we've seen over the last few years. Um, Team of the Week tokens. If you've got your alt accounts, make sure to do them every week. What it is there'll be one or two challenges, and you go out and you get a couple stars. It's usually relatively easy. You go out and you do that, and you get a token. After 16 weeks, we get we take all those tokens and we put them inside the Team of the Year set, and we will get returned one of those. Typically, they're auctionable, they're tradable. It's a long grind, but it's really a worthwhile grind for all of us non-money spent players. Um, Outside of that, you're probably not talking a lot of quote-unquote content with it. As far as solos, you will get sets. Obviously, take the lower guys, put them in and get higher guys. Take the higher guys, put them in and get the masters. It's pretty straightforward on how all of the sets really are. Lower guys go into higher guys, go into masters. But the fun of Team of the Week is trying to figure out who they're going to put out. Last year they did an LTL based on like the highest fantasy guy. And there's some restrictions that you usually kind of see whether people need cards. Uh, the rookie premier guys are just don't seem to get the masters ever. You know, if you're sitting on a 75, you're probably not going to get like a master of an 89 or 90 or anything like that. But I kind of want to cover who I see as both offensive and defensive potential masters are. And maybe we'll tally them up as we go through every week and see how good I actually am at this. Um, I'm going to say, for the offensive side, I've only got four, but my number one's going to be Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers. He's only got an 83 overall, so putting him up at an 88, 89 is not unheard of. He had a stellar week. He went 32-44, maybe not the best completion rating, but 364 yards for 4 touchdowns and a big goose egg in the interception category. Someone with somewhat similar stats that's probably going to come in at my number two, number three range. These next two are pretty interchangeable. Would be Russell Wilson. He got 31-35, great completion rating, 322 yards. Again, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So both him and Rodgers pretty comparable as far as overall stat wise. Wilson's a little bit more of a mobile quarterback, where Rodgers is more your pocket passer, and I think the game maybe needs a pocket passer, as well as I think Rodgers would really sell packs week one. Um, so I definitely that's why I kind of leaned into Rodgers being my number one. The other quarterback is kind of in that same overall range at 83. I think would definitely sell packs, but again, do we need another mobile quarterback? And we of course are talking about Cam Newton. 75 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. It's a great stat line out of quarterback. But he did only put up 155 passing yards. So that's why he's a little bit farther down on the list. Like his stat line on his passing attributes were not that great. Let's break away from quarterbacks because we've got a few to choose from. At running back, which I know we've got a lot to choose from, shakeups. Only halfback to put in 3 touchdowns this week. Almost 100 yards. I think he was sitting maybe 3 to 4 to 5 as far as rushing yards compared to his other halfback counterparts this week. But with the 3 touchdowns, him being an 82 overall, my only complaint about him is I don't necessarily see him driving pack sales. He's not going to be as exciting to see in packs, unless you're a Raiders fan. And obviously, the last ones on my list is Devontae Adams. And I mean, we all know he put in 2 touchdowns. over 150 yards. I don't think any other wide receivers anywhere really close with that yardage. And he did it with 14 receptions, so he just got peppered. I could see any one of the 5, but I think Rodgers probably takes it just because he's going to drive pack sales a little bit more than any of the other ones, as well as I see it being a need in the game right now. Like, I think we need a better pocket passer right now. The other 2 quarterbacks are a little bit more mobile. Wide receivers, we always could use another wide receiver, and that stat line was really awesome, don't get me wrong, so it could easily be him. And Jacobs a little bit lower on the end of what I'm thinking might happen, but still 3 touchdowns out of a halfback is pretty good. Okay, now on to the defensive side of the ball. These are all shots in the dark for me. Looked up some stat lines, what looked good, so don't slaughter me in the comments about how horrible this is. Jaire Alexander, he's sitting on an 84 or an 82. He did have an interception, and he also had a safety rate before that. So, I mean, he's got that right overall. Could I see it giving him to 2 Packers? I mean, possibly. But I do put Alexander up there as my number 1 because of the safety and the interception. That's kind of, I mean, it was the best stat line. It was the best highlight reel. Coming in at number 2, I put in Kyler Fuller. He's got an 80 overall, so it might be a bit of a jump to get him all the way up to the master. But the interception was pretty crucial in that game. And if we're talking big plays, maybe his stat line wasn't the biggest, but as far as clutch plays, I mean, that was probably one of the more clutchy plays. Coming in at number 3, I did put Ryan Kerrigan in there. He is another one that's down there at 80, so maybe it's a little bit of a stretch to put him at master. But 2 of what I think was 8 sacks that they had were Kerrigan's, and he also had that fumble recovery. So stat line was good. He's not going to be super exciting to drive packs. I don't think any of these defensive guys are really what's going to drive the pack sales. But it was a good stout game for him. I can see him getting an upgrade. They always kind of treat him pretty well in MUT. Number 4, I think this might be too high of an overall, going to the other end of the spectrum here. But Chris Jones does have the 86. He had a sack and a half over there on Thursday. Seemed to keep, Watson pretty well contained. So I think it was good enough, with maybe not the best stat line, but if you looked at his play actually on the field, it seemed to be pretty good for him. And then kind of a real super long shot that I really don't see happening, but the only pick 6 this weekend was Janoris Jenkins. And I know he's sitting on a 77, but he played a heck of a game, and he ran one back on Brady. And I'm a Brady hater, so anytime you want to run one back on Brady, I like that. And it was the only interception return for a touchdown this week. So I know we buzzed through the defense real quick, but I want to get this edited, put together for you guys, get it out hopefully before the game starts tonight. Those are the predictions. We're going to go ahead, and tomorrow we'll do a little bit more detailed review on Team of the Week. Craylo made it sound like it was a little bit of a different program than what we're used to seeing. So we'll see. We'll see what they deliver to us. We'll see what maybe this is going to make up for the weekly content that we're so all longing for. But I don't know. We'll find out. Until next time, peace out, Madden people.